Welcome to the Cabinet Maker Profit System Show. I'm Dominic Rubino, and it's all about the business of the woodshop business. Look, if you want the unfair advantage, if you want the inside track to stop being in chaos and move towards clarity, I think you're in the right place. And let me ask you, were you ever that guy in high school who ever wished he had a copy of the exam before the big final test? I was. And if you were ever like that, I'm going to set you up in business to be the same way. Now, we're going to be talking specifically to those of you who serve the homeowner market or want to serve the homeowner market, but you also want to move up market. And when I say up market, I'm talking about luxury, high-end stuff. So whether it's kitchens, whether it's closets, or maybe you're already in the millwork industry and you want to move up again, today, we're going to be talking about how to get into the luxury and upscale market with homeowners by building trust and credibility. And we're going to pick that apart with an expert. Our guest today is Lisa Treu. She's the host of American Dream TV. She's got her own radio show. She sells luxury real estate in South Florida, the home of luxury real estate. And we're going to be talking about how to meet homeowner needs and wants. She said something interesting in the interview. She said, buyers buy the home for a kitchen and they stay for the bathrooms. So I want you to imagine that you are a fly on the wall and you were listening into that conversation with a realtor and that new homeowner before you ever got the phone call. What's that conversation about? Where do you get called in? Because once you understand that, you're going to know how you can serve that client better, because the client does have at least three choices they can make to spend their money when they buy the home. Lisa says the most important new expenses for them are kitchens, roofs, and flooring. And we do the kitchen part. So I'm going to pick her brain on, if the homeowner only had $1 to spend, what would they spend that dollar on? How can you understand how the homeowner makes decisions so you can line up your presentation properly and get that juicy, profitable deal? And three, what are the big dollar items you compete with for that magic dollar? Because once you know that, you'll know what to ask when. Now, support for this episode comes from dad jokes. No, we're not going to run an ad. Dad jokes. I was thinking, Lisa's a realtor, and my favorite show is Modern Family. Phil Dunphy. Phil Dunphy's got one of the greatest quotes anywhere. He says, success is 1% inspiration, 98% perspiration, and 2% attention to detail. That's Phil Dunphy from Modern Family. There is a support document that goes along with this. If you want it, shoot me a text. It's how to get more and better customers. And it's a package of documents. There's 6 professional development tools in there. If you're listening to Lisa and I in this interview and you're thinking, hey, I need more info on that, or you just want to get all the documents in the profit pack, just text me. You guys know the cell phone number. It's 315-903-7853. Especially on the residential side, there are systems and processes you need to follow. You probably already know this, but residential buyers buy on emotion, and commercial buyers or builders buy on logic. And it's a different selling style. It's just laid out a little bit differently. And if you step on yourself, if you do things in the wrong order, you're not going to get that deal that you need. Anyways, shoot me a text, 315-903-7853, and just say, more, better customers. All right, let's go over to the studio and hear from Lisa Treu. Lisa Treu, how are you?
I'm doing great from sunny South Florida.
Yeah, I know. Just rub that in, right?
I'm in January. I'll really rub it in then.
when it's sunnier.
Yeah, and warm.
And warmer. Yeah, I love Florida. I think it's great. But the reason I got you here is because you're a realtor, but a realtor extraordinaire. I'm sure you'll get into it, but you've got your own TV show. You speak to the most well-heeled people in South Florida. And I brought you here because I want to learn some stuff.
Well, I'm excited to be on. I believe in sharing information, giving back. The exciting thing is that I've been on radio for years. I have a wonderful TV show, and people ask me about it. It's called American Dream TV. The reason I do it is because I get to share why I love where I live and sell here in South Florida. It's actually helped me fall in love with my town, my area a little bit more. And I've been selling real estate here in Palm Beach County, Florida, since 1989.
So I was going to ask you that. You said 89.
89.
Uh-oh. We're not going to cross-reference dates here
I'm aging myself a little.
Yeah. No, you're not. You're selling us your experience. Let me ask you this question so that our audience has a better understanding of you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Lisa Treu, who the heck are you? And how is it you come to be speaking to all these forward-facing cabinet makers and millworkers, closet makers and designers all over the world?
Well, I think that it starts with I'm a business owner. As I mentioned, I've been selling since 1989. I'm passionate about business. I'm
Mm,
passionate about real estate.
right.
And I'm passionate about family and travel. And I actually started a travel business as well because I'm so passionate about
Oh,
it.
okay. Of course.
Yeah. So, I believe that I love connecting with business owners in all industries that have a passion about what they do, right? So,
Mm,
like, they're the best of the best of what they do, right? And so, I don't care what your thing is. I just love people who love that, right?
yeah.
So,
Well, you certainly found it here because people that love cabinetry and millwork really love it.
and it's such a lost, really art, right? I think of cabinets and cabinetry and closets as artistic expression
Yeah.
by the person who did it, but also the homeowner and the home. I love walking into a home where they just renovated and you're like, I get who these people are, right? I
Yeah.
see it. And it's really, I think, a pleasure and an honor for the person who created it to have brought that out for that homeowner.
Yeah. It's interesting that you and I come at that same observation that I think people lose because you wake up in the morning, you get in the truck, you drive to the shop, you build what you build, you do a great job, you go install it, you drive home.
Yeah.
But I think what the audience here forgets is that what we're building, what we're making, is
Mhm.
the last thing people see before they go to bed and the
Yeah.
first thing they see when they wake up.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at a junkyard every day, that affects your life. If you're looking at beautiful art, everything is plumb, square, level, built with love.
Yeah.
You can just tell. You just know, right?
Well, and I think a lot of what I do and what your listener does
Mm,
is very similar. I view my job, yes, real estate is my product, right? Homes are my the thing I sell, but I really view what I do. I am an opportunity and dream maker.
mm,
And when a client comes to me, especially to buy, or a client comes to the cabinet maker with a project, they
yeah.
have a vision, they have a dream in their head, right? And a picture, right? They know what it looks like. And they've been dreaming. Most of these people have been dreaming about this for a while.
I'm glad you said that because that's where we're going to go in today's conversation. I
Awesome.
what I really want to understand from you is because you're a professional who comes in before we get there.
Right.
And it'd be so cool to look inside that conversation to hear what you and that new homeowner's talking about
Mhm.
before we get invited in and we hear some sort of filtered version. Because I think, and I know, if we understand that conversation better, then we can serve them better, to your point, and we
Yeah,
can help them build that dream. And we're going to, there's going to be competition. There's
of course.
competition for their dollar. Actually, let's start with that. What are the top three renovations that you discuss with homeowners as you walk through a home? They've just said to you, at least, oh my God, we love it. You
Yeah.
got everything we wanted. A 19 car garage. I'm joking. You know, we could fit, it's a 2 car garage. There's space for the kids to play. There's a fence around the pool. It's
Great
everything we want.
schools,
Yeah, the right
all the things.
schools,
Yeah.
everything, right? The layout is good.
Mhm.
What are the top three renovations you guys talk about as you're completing that transaction?
Yeah. So in real estate, we say buyers buy a home for the kitchen and they
Mm.
stay in a home for the bathrooms.
Oh gosh, I
Yeah.
haven't heard that.
Yeah.
Buy for the
And
kitchen.
buy for the kitchen and that long term they stay in the home for the bathrooms.
Huh.
And I think that those are the two most important places where buyers and we say they can get their best ROI, right? Because people are doing things for themselves, but they're also asking us like, look, if I come in and I live in this house 5 years and I do put some money in it, how am I going to get the most money out for the money I
Yeah.
invest? Kitchen's always number one.
Hmm.
Always, always number one. Because even for people like me who honestly don't cook, I love a great kitchen,
Yeah.
right? Kitchen is really that heart of the home, that place that, where people gather and hang out and, you know, they just want to be part of that, right? And then bathrooms number two, having a bathroom, as you said, it's the first thing they see in the morning. It's the last thing they see before going to sleep,
Right.
right? And having a place where it's almost like a place that gives you that refresh by walking into that bathroom. Bathrooms
Mm,
are a smart investment for sure. Now in
yeah.
Florida, we also have to compete with function. The age of the roofs right now are a big conversation in Florida because of insurance, and I know that's
The
not
age of the roof, the roof.
the age of the roof.
Okay. Yeah.
So many people are having to say, I don't want to do a new roof, right? Because it's not sexy, it's not pretty, it's not wow, it's
Yeah.
necessity. But right now, we're competing with design dollars with functional dollars right now. And
Interesting. So,
yeah,
and I
because
guess that's market specific because it's going to be different in Michigan and it's going to be different in Manitoba and it's going
it's
to be
going to be
different.
definitely different, but
Yeah.
everybody has their function, right? Their, oh, my AC or my furnace or my whatever I have, these are function things. So when we're saying
Mm,
as a homeowner, right? I love this house, I want to buy it, or I love it and I want to stay. They have to balance that. I really love that with I need that, right? We
right.
need ACs that work in Florida. You need furnaces that work in Minnesota,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we all have those. It's just the function item will change depending on where you live. But
Okay.
it is important to understand that we're always balancing that pretty, what we want versus function. And that is competing with a lot of the dollars out there. Is like, okay, I want this, but I need this. So it's
Yeah.
important for them to understand.
Thank you. And that's what I want everybody listening to this show to understand is that when somebody comes to you and says, hey, we just bought a new house, we're thinking about putting a kitchen in, they're not putting all of their dollars into the kitchen. They've got other dollars.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a third to three different things.
Yeah. And as far as the design, my third would be flooring.
Oh,
Those are the three things that often I would say are on the top of the list and also that are the biggest dollars, right? We're
mm.
building a new home right now. We're doing our
you
upgrade
you
budget.
are your family, the Treu family's building your own
We are
home.
personally doing what I tell all my clients is buy when others aren't buying, get in the
Yeah.
market, do that. What I believe in life, in business, in the 180-degree theory. If everybody's doing it, I'm probably not. And if nobody's doing it, let me go, right? So
Yeah.
we're buying, building a new home and making all of our selections for our upgrades, and there's tons of them. And 72% of our budget is
Mm,
going towards kitchen and
mm.
floors.
And are
Personally.
you doing custom floor? Like, are you getting custom milled floors? Because we've got a lot of floor makers here on
Yeah,
the
so
show.
the challenge is we're building through a builder. I so wish we were because I think some of my upgrades are a little pricey compared to if I went direct to a cabinet maker or direct to somebody who's doing floors. But unfortunately, pick from the three choices we have or the 500 choices that we have. But I will tell you that I don't think that my budget breakdown is that abnormal. I think that about 70% are going to go to those two things.
Yeah.
And then depending on if it's an older bathroom, then that may overtake the floors because people want, they
Oh,
want
on
the
a renovation. Yeah.
on a renovation project, right? Versus new construction.
There's a certain amount of negative emotion to an overused bathroom.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the same, and the same with the floor, right? You can see where the other people have their couch, where the carpets or the
yeah.
floors have been scuffed and worn down. And
And listen, trends change a lot, right? And so, the trend is I hate carpet, I love carpet, I hate tile, I love
tile,
wood, or
Spanish
whatever.
tile, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's always
Yeah,
different, right?
for sure.
All right. So those are the top three renos you guys discuss that compete for dollars so far. We're talking about custom kitchens, floors, and bathrooms.
Yes.
On the pretty side, if we use your categorization of pretty, of beautification of the home. And then the other
Right.
one is the functionality. Like we got to do the roof, we
Yeah.
got to do the AC, or we got to do the heat exchange, whatever they have to do.
Right.
And it changes city to city, whatever, region
Right.
to region.
Of course.
Um, let's talk a little bit more about the fears that
Yeah.
that homeowners have. So Lisa, you're walking me through the house, me and my wife, we're finally buying this house. And we're
Hmm.
like, oh God, we've never hired a contractor before.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? And they're a little bit afraid because it's a new relationship again, but they
Right.
also hear horror stories.
Lots of them.
So tell me, what are the homeowner fears about contractors?
I think a lot of it is fears of the contractors, but also fears of lack of knowledge. So imagine this, you're buying your first home that you're going to renovate. You've never done it before. And people come across that they know things, but they really don't, right?
Mm,
Who do I call? Who do I trust? How much should I budget? How much, where do I spend the money to get the best ROI? Now,
yeah.
hopefully they have a great agent like us. My husband actually has a contractor's background. He built big stuff for many years.
Okay.
So it's nice because he can ballpark stuff, right? Like he can say, that's going to cost you 20, that's going to cost you 50, that's going to
Mhm.
cost whatever. So that going into it, they have a ballpark, right, of what they're going to need to invest to make it their vision. And I'll tell you the thing that I think that my profession and then your audience's profession don't think about is that they really need to be like a consultant. Okay.
Mm.
Because by asking the right questions,
Oh, love this.
okay, of that person who calls you and says, great news, I just bought a house and I'm going to renovate the kitchen, you will draw out of them the vision in their head so that they don't just, oh my gosh, a great kitchen, but it's the kitchen of their dreams.
Mm.
So knowing the questions, and look, the questions will depend on a lot of things, but your audience they're the experts, right? They know their stuff. So they know what
Yeah.
people should be thinking about. What they're not putting together, I think, because I know this is in my industry, is that they're assuming that person already knows.
Yeah. And they
If
don't.
they say something, they think, oh, they've already thought about the 1,400 things. No, because they don't know. They 9 times out of 10 are doing this the very first time,
Yeah.
right?
It's so
Most,
true. So
right?
they need guides. They need somebody to walk them through with
Yeah.
confidence. They need, they also need people to keep their promises. Because
Oh,
I want to deal with a contractor I could trust. And so if
yeah.
I make small promises throughout the conversation, throughout the relationship, then they know they can trust me.
And that's how you have raving fans versus just somebody. Here's my example an explanation of a raving fan. So if somebody calls me up, I just redid my kitchen. And they call me up and say, hey, I know you just redid your kitchen. Were you happy? Yes, I was. Who did you use? I give my contractor's name out, right?
Yeah.
Did a great job. Happy, happy, happy. That's not a raving fan in my world.
Right.
A raving fan, they're at the grocery store. They're
Yeah.
pushing their cart, minding their own business, and they hear somebody talking, husband, wife, best friends, whatever, talking about, we hate our kitchen. We're
Yeah.
thinking, I don't even know who to call. That person runs down and around the aisle and goes, oh my gosh, you got to call my guy. That's a raving fan.
I love it.
How you have a business that goes from, a little more struggle, always looking for your next person, to wow, my biggest struggle is I have too much work.
Too much work. Yeah. We actually have a lot of the people that choose to listen to this show, and this is an important consideration. People that choose, because everybody has a lot of choice in this world.
Yes.
People that go look for a weird show called Cabinet Maker Profit System,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You can see how they self-select. They are already, a lot of them
Yeah.
are in that bucket where they have work coming
In abundance.
in abundance. Now they still need to I say curate it, that sounds too fancy. They still need to massage it a bit so they're doing the best jobs for the best customers, the best areas that lines up with what they do.
And that's where your profit comes in.
Oh, isn't
The
that
name
funny?
of your show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like you have enough business, but that keyword profit, those little baby tweaks in a business, right? And we all do it if we're business owners, whatever our business is, those
Mm,
little tweaks, getting everything out of what you have,
yeah.
right? That's where profit comes in. Okay, so you may have tons of business. Is it as profitable as it could be?
I might have to get you to host the show when I go on vacation. I mean, you host your own show already, your
Yeah.
TV show, and I didn't know you did a radio show.
Yeah, so in 2006, I got this really great opportunity, and this is a business thing. Everything that has happened good in my life came from just being willing to say, I know nothing about it. Let me give it a whirl, right? I got the
Mm.
opportunity to get involved in radio in 2006. The market was starting to turn, and I'm like, what do I know about radio? And they said, you don't need to, you'll learn, right? And for me, it's just about relationships, connections,
Yeah.
advice,
Being
being
genuine.
a soft place where people can kind of come to without it being salesy.
Mm.
And so it's in the same thing with the TV show. I was like, what do I need to do a TV show for? And I just said, you know what? Throw my hat over the wall and jump in it, right?
Yeah.
So but yeah, I love that your audience loves obviously what they do, right? And
Love it.
love it. And that's why they have repeat raving fans, it sounds like already.
Well, they have repeat customers, whether we have wherever, we can't say everybody, can't generalize. Does everybody
Right.
have raving fans? I think
No.
one of the biggest challenges that we see is that people get business as it comes in, but it comes to them from this magic box,
Yeah.
right?
I
It's
get
just, I don't know, the leads are coming in, so things are fine. But the problem is then you're not you're not running your business proactively where you're getting a specific type. I talk a lot about a guy named Dan that took one of our programs. He was a home renovator, so he did
Mhm.
kitchen cabinets as part of the whole package. And when we met him, he was doing about 300 grand in sales,
Okay.
which is like a lot of renovators,
Yeah.
just doing kind of small stuff, getting jobs, moving to the
Yeah.
next job. But he wasn't a businessman
Right.
running a renovations company. He was a renovator guy.
Of course.
And he came to us because he wanted to make that transition. He was ready to do it. And anyways, one of his observations that he got through all of the coaching, the training we did, is he needed to be on the water. So basically golf course communities or lakefront communities.
Okay.
So instead of waiting for random referrals to come in, he
Right.
went, what we showed him how to do is proactively go to golf course communities and be the name there.
Very
And
niche.
then, yeah, and then go to lakefront communities and be the name there because the property values are higher.
Right.
The scope of the job is bigger,
They have a
right?
lot more money to spend on what would be considered luxury, like a primary renovation, right? Closet. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a luxury, right? That is not I need this to survive. That is,
Mm.
those amazing closet renovations. I showed a beautiful home one time. I was obsessed about the closet. I mean, she had spent a fortune on the
Mm.
closet, and I'm just like you walked in there, you were happy, right?
Just in the closet.
Just to be in the closet. I could have moved in there. And the quartzite lit up, when you walked in, it automatically
Oh,
light, right? It was just heaven. And those people that live in those communities have discretionary income for those things that just make them happy, right?
yeah.
It's not that I must have it because I have to cook dinner, right? It's a wow, that would every day when I walk into that closet. I mean, every day I showed the home. I was there for several days.
You
Every
just
day
enjoyed showing that you're like,
I
I
was
can't wait to show you.
happy. I was like, I don't even live here, right? So I think that is awesome is to find who your people are.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. If you find your people, you my rule in business is if you're a client of mine, and when you call my cell phone and I see your name, I don't get excited to talk to you, you're not my people. And I'm
Mm.
not your people, right?
Right.
So look, we all have that client maybe that we don't connect with, but my rule of thumb is if we don't connect, I can't help you. And if I'm very nichey,
Yeah.
right, I can choose
I
who I
can
work with.
choose.
I
Oh,
can choose.
Lisa, I'm so glad you said that. You know what? Everything that we're really talking about here is so that we have choice in our lives.
Yeah.
Some people say, why do you need more money? Why do you need profit? Because profit
gives me choice. I can choose. Even if I've got money, I can still choose to eat mac and cheese as
Yeah.
opposed to being forced to eat. I'm thinking right now about my son who just loves ramen, like the cheap stuff out of. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? We've worked
Hey,
so hard to
ramen's
get
no
away
longer
from ramen.
cheap. Ramen's
I
no longer cheap, I have to tell you.
yeah, but I mean that, the package from the
Yeah,
store that's the square.
yeah,
I'm like,
I know.
dude, I have worked so hard to get away from a ramen lifestyle, and now you're eating it every day. But sorry, I'm off on a tangent. It is that it gives
It's
us
a choice.
choice.
It does
And
give.
I would have to say that being a proactive business person also gives me choice. And when I have choice, I have power. When
Mhm.
in a lack of choice, I'm forced to make a bad decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it allows you to stand in integrity. It allows you to be an example. It allows you to help people. I believe that you should make as much money as you were destined to make, right? That's
Oh,
going to be
wow.
different for everybody,
That's a
everybody,
neat
you
thing to
know,
say.
because even if you say, I don't need more. I know a real estate agent years ago, maybe 20 years ago, when I was a newer agent, exceptionally successful agent out of California.
Mm-hmm.
Person didn't ever need to sell another house ever, 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 ever. And she gave almost all her money away. She was actually an immigrant and came here with nothing. Her parents had nothing, and she became this huge success. And she gave to her favorite charities,
Right.
and she said, I owe it to others who don't have the blessing to earn what I earn because I have enough. Look, she drove a great car. She lived in
Yeah, I
a
gotcha. Yeah.
mansion, and she said, I don't need anything else, but I still have this potential to make all this money. And she just gave so much of it away, right? And that was her choice. It wasn't her obligation. It was a
Right.
choice she made. She goes, I could retire, but how many more people what legacy will I help build, right?
Wow. I wish
So
I'd met her.
it's all about choice, right? You have, and there's so many people like that they don't need it for them, but you have a great business maker, business cabinet maker, businessman that says, because I did these tools, I learned these skills, now I can double my business. And once my family's taken care of, then what else could I do with that? And again, it's choice,
Yeah.
right? But if he didn't do that, if he didn't listen to your podcast, if he didn't take what you shared with him and implemented it, he has what's left, right? So I love it. I love the choice. And look, the choice may be not to double your business. That is, again, a choice.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be because people can't. I want it to be because they say, I like my life, you
Yeah.
know?
I'm doing what I set out to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
There's a lot of philosophy in here between you and I, a business coach and
I
a
know,
realtor. People
right?
think that we're like, something else, but I appreciate this. So, interesting. When we talked about the homeowner fears that they share with you about contractors, you
Mhm.
still haven't said what my knee jerk would have been, which is somebody's going to rip me off. Or how do I know if they're good or the quality's there? We've talked about we don't
Yeah,
know everything, which is, I
right,
think, why people make bad decisions and go with bad contractors because
right,
they're out there.
right,
And that we need to ask a lot of great questions and listen carefully to what the homeowner's saying because they don't have fully formed ideas. They say, I want a palace, but they don't tell you what, is it a Barbie palace? Is it a
right.
playhouse palace? Is it a log cabin palace? What's palace mean to you?
Right. Well, and I do think that fear of being ripped off. Look, I've been, we paid deposits down and then the person disappears and, like, now what do you do? Right.
I'll apologize on behalf of the industry. I'm just so sorry that happens.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think things have happened to me. It makes me more empathetic and to understand. And it wasn't the end of the world, but it was a lesson, right? A lesson. And we choose our people we do business with very differently. We do a lot of, I think, referrals. Who has used people, who knows people, whatever. I think that also the lack of quality. Now, this is very region specific. We have people that like in your group that are highly skilled, and we also have a lot of people that say, oh, today I'm going to become a cabinet maker,
Oh,
right?
right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and it's hard sometimes for the novice to spot the instant difference between quality and non-quality.
You're
And
right.
so, like, I think that's a big fear of, am I going to make a mistake? Am I going to choose the wrong person? Am I going to spend too much money, extras?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, we're doing a custom job. That's a biggie, right? How much is this actually going to cost me? You know, like, okay, they told me this price. We've heard the nightmare stories, right? Where, oh, I was told it was this much and it ended up being a third more. Well, when you have a budget, that's hard,
That's
right?
it. Well, it becomes impossible because you're taking from something else, which might have been that requirement, the
Right.
functional requirement of a hot water tank or a roof.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine right now who did all the right things in another state.
Mhm.
She's in the industry. She buys, she flips, she's in sort of an expert. Her builder, who had a fabulous reputation, had a little issue, and now it's become her issue, right?
Oh no.
And she did all the right things, but a lot of people, and I would say, they don't even know what the right things are, right? If you're not in the industry, if you haven't done something multiple times. And I think that those that are those quality people, like your listener, they can say, these are the fears. How do I believe if you get a constant, maybe objection, to work it into your presentation, right?
Yes, I
I
couldn't
would
agree
work
more.
that into my presentation when I'm meeting with the homeowner, the fact of that you don't have to worry about these things. You don't have to worry about making a mistake because you didn't know what you didn't know. You don't have to make the mistake because
Mm,
you think the contractor is going to disappear on you or steal your money or be over budget. I
yeah,
would work all that into the conversation. So instead of you reacting to it or not even knowing what they're thinking, I would actually lead with it because I think everybody's thinking all those things.
they are. So can I stop for a business coaching moment?
Yeah, of
I feel
course.
like we have to put some like crazy, melodic music in here, where we have some interlude. But people often think, well, I don't know what people's fears are. I don't know what they're going to ask me. And then you raised an excellent point, which comes right back to something I talk about all the time is if I already know what people's concerns are, I can get ahead of that. Again, we talked about being proactive in business. I can get ahead of that and build it into the presentation so that people know I know and we can deal with it.
Yeah,
But there's only 6 things that come up all the time.
yeah.
That's
There's no
it.
new objections.
There's Thank you. There are no new objections. And here they are, folks. If you want to pause after I say this, I'll do it slowly. I'll say it twice, whatever you want. The main objections that people will give you always fall into 4 buckets plus 2 extra ones. So that's why I say 6. The buckets are budget, need, timing, and trust. So
Yeah.
just think about that for a second or write it down. If you're driving, do not write this down. Budget, need, timing, trust. And then the other 2 things are technical and they have to do with our industry, for instance, just as an example. So we're talking about cabinetry, something wacky, but it has to do with the technical part of our industry. So it might be like, is it going to smell in my house of the paint you use to paint the thing? Or where was the wood ethically sourced?
Mhm.
It did tell me you didn't pull out of a Brazilian rainforest to make my kitchen. I don't want that. Or something completely different, but it's going to be technical, right?
Mhm.
So you'll figure that out in your own market with your own specific segment. However, people always have the same 3 questions about budget,
Yeah.
the same 3 questions about need. Why do they need this? The same
Mhm.
3 questions about timing, and the same 3 questions about trust. Go ahead right now and write down 3 questions in each of those categories and then come up with an answer you would give for each of them. And you will be unstoppable the rest of your life in sales.
And I completely agree with you. And I would say if you kind of live with those questions, I would then start with one answer, but you really should have 3 answers. Because if you give that and they give you the objection again, you have somewhere to go with that,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
If you have 3 answers to any objection or any issue, you're unstoppable because nobody even knows the questions, much less has 3 answers on how to handle that objection. It's just that simple.
You know why I really grasped onto that when I learned it years ago is
Mhm.
because I was always that kid in high school that wished I had the exam before I walked into the exam room, but I
Yeah.
never had the guts to go steal it out of the teacher's office. And so I thought, how could I get the questions to the exam? And when I got to, professional world, I'm like, I already know the questions they're going to ask. They always
Yeah,
ask the same ones.
they
Why don't
do.
I formalize it? Now
Yeah,
I've got the questions to the exam.
right. Right. And I will tell you that you mentioned earlier that you're competing and you are. People are bidding, they're competing, whatever you call it. My husband, with his industry background, gets like 5 estimates. I have no use for it. You know, like, call and tell me who we're using is my mentality, because I know he's doing it, right? But they're going to at least talk to 2 or 3 people. And what the encouragement I can give you, if you do the work that you just told them to do, nobody else is doing it. Nobody,
No.
right? It'll flow. And this is where the choosing who you work with, you can choose which jobs you want. You can choose the profit level you want. You set, I'm not going to go below this profit level. You know, I say no to clients and it's okay. Right. And most of it, they're nice people. There's just not, it's not the right deal for me.
You're just
right?
not my person. You're a nice person. You're just not my person.
Yeah, and that's okay. And I have confidence because I don't need my next deal. I want my next deal.
Mm.
Right. So if they know that, okay, I go in there, I'm more prepared than everybody. I know the questions, I have the answers. I've worked it into my presentation, so I'm not waiting for them to say it. I actually have already overcome the objection before. Nobody's doing it. I'm telling you. You are going to stand apart. And then honestly, people will pay for convenience and quality.
Mm. Right. Yeah.
People will
Reduce the
pay.
amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it convenient, make it easy, take it off my hands. So here's a funny side question. I talk about this all the time on the show. How many people say to you, I'm going to do it myself? And whatever the number is today, how many, what has been the change since you started in real estate? The DIYers in the old days, well, no offense, let's call our time the old day versus now.
I think there was actually more DIY as our average sales price has increased here. I think people did it. Now there's certain projects they do, but something like a kitchen, and you can definitely see it, by the way. When I walk into a home and they oh, we renovated everything, and I walk in there, I'm like, oh no.
Oh my God. Yeah. The teeth, it looks like the teeth on a jack-o'-lantern. You're like, what did you do to this
Like, oh
kitchen?
no, like this is, you wasted all your time, energy, and money because this has to be ripped out by the next the next
Yeah.
buyer, right?
Are they painted it themselves? And you're like, really? I didn't
I couldn't
notice.
tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually think we do have, obviously, I think first-time home buyers have to DIY it a lot because they just don't have the budget.
Sure.
Florida's gotten expensive to live, and I think almost everywhere has gotten expensive to live. And so a lot of times they're scraping their, look, I was a DIY with our first home, I don't DIY now, right?
Yeah. No, I've tiled my own countertops and,
Yeah,
with stuff I bought at Home Depot on the discount rack and,
I know.
oh,
Yeah, we've all been there, and I think it's great. I think it's a great time in life. We certainly appreciate professionals. But I'm finding that there's less DIY than there used to be. Because I do think people, we went through this phase on HGTV, right?
mm,
Where everything was DIY everything. And now if you look at even what's on TV, it's more professional level quality and more, they've kind of elevated everything, and people realize their limitations, that I can't make that space look that way by me
well,
going to Home Depot.
yeah. You've illustrated exactly what I talk about. People don't have the time and they don't have the tools. Now, and some people love to do it. A lot of the people that listen to the show started as a DIY person, started to buy their own tools, built a kitchen for fun, and then decided to, just rolled
And I'm good
onwards.
at this.
Sure. But please understand, you're literally one in a million.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that you are one in a million. Everybody else, they don't own a ladder. They don't own a proper set of tools that they didn't buy at Walmart or a kit from Home Depot. And even if they do, I don't know where the toolkit is. I think it's in the shelf under the sink, which I can't fix anyway. Like they don't have the time. They're in traffic for an hour on the way to work, an hour on the way back. Plus, you got to stop and get groceries. And by the way, Jimmy's at softball. Can you take him and his friend home before you come back here? They don't have time.
I think that is something that I think it's a story that people that are in the renovation business tell themselves, that everybody's going to do it themselves. They're not.
Well, the wrong customers are doing it themselves. That's not our customer.
There's a very slim
piece
of the pie that are, right? But they're not people that are having custom anything done, right? Custom quality cabinets. They're the ones that are going and buying something off the wall in Home Depot or Lowe's and putting that cabinet in. That is not who your people are meant to work with, right?
Yeah.
Like cabinet makers, right? Makers, not cabinet off the shelf buyers, right?
Yeah.
It's a totally different audience. And people, I think, that want the ROI, want quality.
They do. Yeah, they do. And so that's so interesting that you don't even come from my industry and we're having exactly the same end result to our conversation. Okay, so we've talked about the top 3 renos that people discuss, which you covered really well. Homeowner fears about contractors. Thank you. Now let's talk about that proactive marketing.
Yeah.
If I want to find, and not everybody listening to the show lives in South Florida. I
Sure.
understand. I happen to live where heaven is a local call. It's really nice here. So I'm not coming to South Florida.
Yeah.
And everybody lives where they do. But if I want to find the Lisa Treu, if I want to find as a referral source, top realtors, top mortgage brokers, so that I'm early in that conversation about, hey, we're thinking about making our dream kitchen.
Yeah.
How do we find people and professionals like you, your friend in California, et cetera?
So I have a great photographer who was he was young and he was smart. I think he was 18 when he found me. I didn't know that at the time. How did I reach out to him to become now my exclusive photographer?
Yeah.
Videographer. He started engaging with me on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
He started liking, commenting, engaging, right? I didn't know who he was. So I'm curious, right? Who's this guy all of a sudden that's in my, feed, right?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, he's a photographer. And then I started looking at his Instagram page. I'm like, he's talented.
Okay.
So that's one way, because I would think everybody who's making a great product is showcasing it on Instagram, right? And I wasn't.
That's another conversation. There's a lot of people out there right now hanging their heads like, uh-oh.
Well, here's the thing. I was an Instagram resistor. Okay. I was pretty active on Facebook, but I did not want to be on Instagram. And finally, one of my team members said, you have to be. And they set my Instagram account up.
Right.
Now, Instagram is my primary focus. Okay. I'm still on Facebook. Okay. So if you're not, task number 1, go get an Instagram account, find your 12-year-old niece, nephew, child, whatever, and they can do it for you. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say, and look, I'm a small business owner. Pick up the phone. So go on your Instagram or Facebook, whatever, find the top agents in your market. Like all you have to do is put in your city realtors, right? Hashtag city realtors, wherever you live. Start kind of paying attention, going, okay, this person knows their stuff. I vibe with them, right? You can tell somebody's vibe on Instagram, right? I like this person. Pick up the phone. Here's a really interesting.
No, stop this conversation. What
I know,
are you talking?
right?
This is insanity. No.
Call me and don't have someone else call me. You pick up the phone and say, hey, Lisa, this is my business. I'm passionate about it. Use that word. I'm passionate about it. Could we meet sometime for coffee and have a conversation? I'd love to learn about your business and I'd love to tell you about mine.
That sounds too easy and hard at the same time.
If anybody called me, now, if you have somebody from another place calling me on your behalf, I'm not meeting with you. I appreciate that business owner taking a moment and calling me and saying, I'd like to know more about your business. I want to tell you about mine. It's a relationship builder.
Yeah.
Right?
I got the greatest story for you on that. Because people think, well, nobody call, that doesn't work. That won't work in my city. I'm not going to call, because they're resistant to making the phone call. But a very good friend of mine is bringing a professional sports league to the city. Like, this is serious, right?
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And where I live, finding space to make a stadium is a very bigger deal.
Yes.
He got a phone call from a builder that's famous. Like, he got a phone call from the guy who said, hey, Martin's the guy that wrote the foreword to my book, by the way. I'm just thinking about that. He's like my best friend. Hey, Martin, I understand you're building a stadium. I want to build it for you. This guy's a multi-gajillionaire builder, and he did exactly what you just said, Lisa. He called my friend because he knew my friend is going out arranging investors to bring a professional sports team to the city. Yeah. So anybody out there listening going, that's not going to work. There's no way. It
Yeah.
works. The
It works
phone
in
is an
every town,
incredible
in
tool.
every city, in every country.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, emails are getting harder to get through. Texts are almost impossible to get through. Pick up the phone, call from your cell phone, okay? Call, leave a message, send a follow-up
Be
text.
human.
Just come from a place of curiosity,
Yeah.
right? It isn't about you selling me on your business. We want to see if we can form a relationship, okay?
Yeah.
And I think that if somebody, I know anybody calls me and says, I'd love to meet for coffee. I would love to learn about your business and I would love to tell you about mine. I would never say no to that person.
Just be honest. Yeah. Even if it takes 2 months to get together because you're busy, it's summertime, they're skiing, whatever.
Whatever. And here's the thing, if they say no the first time, call them again.
Yeah. I mean,
Call,
give it a couple of weeks.
of
But
course.
yeah. Yeah. By the
Hey,
way,
you were
Lisa, there's
busy.
only 3 answers you're going to get.
Yeah.
One of them is yes. One of them is guaranteed you're going to get a no.
Yeah.
And the other question, the other answer you're going to get is why.
Yeah.
That's it. So if I go into a conversation, if I call you cold, we would call it, understanding you're either going to say yes, or you're going to say no, or you're going to say why. Those are the only 3 answers. Again, we can go back to what you and I already talked about. Write those things down on a piece of paper. If they say yes, I'll do this. If they say no, I'll say this. If they say why, I'll say this. And watch what happens. They're only going to give you one of 3 possible answers, yes or no or why.
And if you want to warm that call up a little bit, whatever social they're on, it doesn't matter. Facebook, Instagram, start engaging with them. Because I will tell you, it's hard to get engagement. People notice when you start liking and commenting on their stuff, as long as you don't do it and it feels weird, right? And if you have a good Instagram, people will come back and go, who is this person, right?
Yeah.
It warms up the call, because then when they call, you're like, oh yeah, you're the guy who, oh my gosh, you're the cabinet maker. I love your I saw that closet you did, right?
Right.
I love when I see, like the before and afters. I love seeing a guy talk or a girl talk about, oh, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. Like, right? We're all DIY at heart. We love the journey.
Oh yeah.
Tell the journey, the story of the journey, right? So if you can warm up that cold call by it takes 10 minutes a day, going on your, sitting in traffic, waiting on a client who's late, whatever. I open my Instagram and start going, and I search based on area or whoever I'm looking at. So, but you know what? There's nothing new, right? There's no new magic pill. To be fit, you got to work out and watch what you eat and watch what you drink, right? I mean, I wish there was a magic pill, but long term, that's what it is. In business, if you want to make connections, you
Need
have
to make connections.
you got to get belly to belly with people, right? And how you do that, you can do it by a lot of things. Some of it's free. I like free. I don't know about you.
Oh, I love free.
It's profit, right? Picking up the phone is free. And I love it. Versus me going and delivering cookies or
so
whatever.
It's free and it's targeted, because if I want to develop a relationship with Lisa and the other 3 realtors that you hang out with, when only the 3 of you are in the room and everybody thinks the king, queen, and princess are all in that room, I can call you. Anyways.
And you only have to break in with one of the friend group, right? In business.
And then you become the guy or the person. I got a guy. I got a guy.
Yeah. And I guess the question for me, like, look, stuff's hard. Business is hard. There's things we have to do. Everything in life has a hard component. You have to choose your hard, as they say, right? Like being overweight's hard. Eating healthy is hard, right? It's all hard. I have to choose, right? Getting up early to work out is hard, but I have to choose which hard I want, okay? Healthy or not, whatever. Same thing, like choose your hard. Like how bad do you want that relationship? How bad do you want to be the guy, right? And if you choose that 1 second of hard, you get this long of easy.
Yeah. I think I might have you host the show when I go on vacation. I think that might happen. Hey, Lisa, if somebody wants, you did such a great job on the show. Thank you. I could tell you prepared. Welcome. Really good.
It was fun. I hope it was helpful. It's what I wish somebody had told me earlier on in my career. right?
Mm.
Because here's the thing, whether it's cabinets or real estate or selling cars or selling,
It's the
shoes,
business of business.
it's the
We're just
business.
talking about the business of business.
Yeah, it's all the same, right? And the tips you gave, I can go tell my agents and do these. Okay, these are the four things, right?
Yeah.
These four things, and then the two are specific to real estate, right?
Yeah.
But these are four to no matter what your business is. So good business is good business is good business is good business.
Fantastic. Um, hey, if somebody wants to find you, and I'm sure people do in this big wide world, how do we find you? Tell us your TV show again. Like, give us all the ways to find you in this world.
Yeah, so the easiest way to find everything about me is to go to Instagram. Okay, now
Mm.
you can find me on Facebook too, if you're not an Instagram person. If you're not, at your homework, get an Instagram account. But it's really simple. It's my name. Now, here's the nice thing. I have an oddly spelled, uniquely spelled last name. So it's on Instagram, it's just Lisa Treu, Treu. So it's so
Mhm.
simple. Follow me. I have in my profile a link tree, which will take you to my TV show. It'll take you to my website. It'll take you to
Ah.
other things. And I talk about 5 things on Instagram, not just one, and
Mhm.
not just real estate. I talk about real estate. I talk about family. I talk about travel. I talk about business,
Mm.
and I talk about lifestyle. Okay. So I put my TV shows there that I host. So if you're ever vacationing in Florida, the places I go are great for locals, but they're also great for tourists, right? They're
Great.
fun things to do. So like if you're coming to Palm Beach County, let me know. But if you're coming to Palm Beach County for a vacation, like maybe you want to go to Throw Social that I went and did a show on, or maybe you want to go do the food yacht or whatever, right? But that's the easiest way. And then you can go to Facebook. And again, I'm easy to find, unique last name. I have a public account. So if you send me a Facebook and you've got a legit account, I will accept you. And I would love to connect. I would love to have, if nothing else, a chat, right? Ask me questions or share something that you did that you said
Mm.
this really worked because maybe I can apply it to my business,
Love it.
right?
Yeah.
Win-win.
See, you're out there, you're networking. But what I really appreciate about you is you're adding value before you ask for anything back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, we
great.
all should do that, right?
Ask for, provide massive value before you ask for anything in return.
Yeah, what is that? That great book, if you've never read it, Gary V. Jab, jab, right hook,
Yeah.
right? You
Give, give, give.
give, and he gives, and then asks a favor, right?
Yeah.
But at least give before you ever ask for anything in
Love
return.
it.
Yeah.
You are quite the business person. Thank you so much. And we should say thanks to Sarah, our mutual friend who
Yeah.
introduced us. I don't think I would have gotten to you unless Sarah
No.
had introduced us, right? So I want to say thanks to her as well, but great to have you on the show, Lisa. Thanks so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I hope it was valuable. And if I can ever help anybody that's on listening that they have a question, just shoot me a message. I personally manage my Instagram. Now I have people that help me, but I actually see every single message. So
Great.
yeah, I'd love to, build relationships, win-win. Like I said, that's what I'm about.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate having you here. And I can, you might be on again. Let's see.
Anytime. It's
Have a
fun.
great day. Thanks.
All right, thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Well. Thank you, Lisa, for being on the show. I appreciate it. It's easy to tell that you're a host of a TV show and a radio show. You're so comfortable on air and on screen. That was fantastic. My big takeaways from this is, those big dollar items that we compete with for that magic dollar. And when I know that, then I know what to ask when. And it was great because you brought us back to the real facts. You're having that conversation with these luxury home buyers, and yet the conversation always comes back to the same things. Do we invest in the kitchen? Do we invest in the roof or the flooring? So very interesting that those are what we're competing with. And for those of you listening, I hope you took note because that's actually who you're competing with more than the cabinet shop down the street. The other thing you said that I found interesting is to use the consultative sales approach, which I just love. Ask great questions and listen. Being great at sales does not mean good at talking. No, it means ask great questions and then shut up and listen. And that's the consultative sales approach for 10 cents or less. If the homeowner had only $1 to spend, what would they spend that dollar on? How can you understand how a homeowner makes decisions? And then that whole conversation about discretionary income. Now, folks, that's all code language. Up in Canada, you guys would say That family's got hockey socks full of cash. Imagine a hockey sock full of money. That's what discretionary income is. This is somebody who can easily spend $300,000 on the closet just for their wife. If you want to move into that market, it takes thinking and acting a little bit differently, and you've got to market to that group. I'm talking to you, Mr. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who's doing a great job in that market. Hey, folks, if you like this show and you like what Lisa and I had to say, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you need anything from me, or if you want to have a meeting because it's time for you to take your business to the next level, shoot me a text. You heard my cell phone here a number of times. Here on YouTube, there are a number of related topics to this. Back in episode 29, we did a topic called residential jobs, how to avoid the 8 mistakes of selling to homeowners. Episode 47 was prospecting for residential kitchen cabinet sales, how to sell more deals. And then episode 185 is a little bit different, self-implementing EOS, how to get back to basics and make it work. I hope you enjoyed the show. And guys, if you've known me for any amount of time, you know that all of this is just a thin excuse until the day you and I can have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, maybe some tea, across the table from each other like real humans and just have a chat. And I look forward to that more than you'll ever know. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next episode.